The most frustrating thing about working in Revit is that if you don't know a specific tool or concept, you can get stuck and then you miss your deadline. Now, what's good about working in Revit is if you know the important tips and concepts, it's going to be really easy and really efficient. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing 10 tips for making Revit simple and easy. Let's go. Now, quickly, before we jump into Revit, I would just like to ask you to check out my website, balkanarchitect.com. I'm going to link it up in the cards above and then also down in the description of this video. We are an Autodesk authorized training center and it's the best place to master Revit. We have over 150 hours dedicated to all of the complex and important topics in Revit. Now, without any further ado, let's jump straight into Revit. And tip number one has to do with topography, and that's how to hold the shape of a topo solid when making changes. So let me explain. Here we have a topo solid, and if I want to modify it in a new way, like moving this point up, as you can see, it can easily swallow the entire house. This is not good. Let's go back, and now let's help hold the shape of this topography. You do that by selecting the topography, you go to add point, and then you make sure that the offset is set to 0, so the offset from surface is set to 0. And then you simply go around the house adding these default points. Once you do that, if I hit the escape key and then select this point and move it up, as you can see, it's going to hold the shape around the house. So it's a really good way to hold the shape where you want it and change topography where you want it. Tip number two is using view templates. So view templates are amazing. Let's say you have a view that you have set up the graphics for. It looks amazing, it's really impressive, but now it's time to move on to level 2, and level 2 looks horrible. So instead of spending the next 20 minutes adjusting the graphics here, go back to your original level where you have already set everything up. Then you want to go here to the View tab and go to View Templates. Open up the drop menu and go to Create Template from Current View. Here you want to name it, click OK, and then just click OK again. Go to Level 2, go to View Templates, click on Apply Template Properties, find your custom template and apply those properties. Click OK, and this is the result. Instead of spending 20 minutes, we have spent 20 seconds. Tip number 3 is to use the smart approach to selecting things. So when you're working in Revit, if you click and drag over to the left, anything that rectangle touches is going to be included in the selection. If you click, hold, and drag to the right, everything that's completely inside of that rectangle is going to be added to the selection. Now, if you want to filter down your selections, you can do that by filtering by category. Here, I'm just going to check none and then only check the furniture, hit apply, click OK, and now only furniture is selected. If you want to include anything else in a selection, just hold the Control key and then anything you click will be added to that selection. If you want to remove from selection, you just hold the Shift key and then anything you click will be removed from that selection. Now, when it comes to the Select tool or the Modify tool, here we have some adjustments. If I open up this drop menu, here, for example, I can use the Select Elements by Face. So here, if I try to select this floor, I cannot do that. I need to find the edge of the floor and then select it. But if I go here and then check on Select Elements by Face, I can simply click over that floor and it's going to select that floor. Another thing that can be kind of annoying is that when you click, hold, and drag, you're going to move an element, and you might not want that. So an option that we have here is drag elements on selection. If you uncheck that option and then click, hold, and drag an element, it's not going to move it at all. Tip number 4 is for Revit schedules. When you have a Revit schedule, you might find a value that you're not really sure, what does this belong to? Where is this wall, for example? Well, I can easily find it by selecting that field in the schedule. Go here to highlight and model, and it's going to open up the view where I can see where exactly that wall is in this case. Tip number 5 is understanding complex system families in Revit. So when we have a complex system family like this railing here, if you want to make a change to some of the parameters of the baluster family, how do we do that? Well, we first select that railing, then we go into Edit Type, and then here we need to search for balusters. Here it is. click on Edit, and then here we can see that this is the baluster family that's being used. But we can't really edit that family here. What we can do is we can remember the name. So it's baluster, steel, flat, upright. Okay, so now with that information, I can cancel out of here and then go to the search bar in the project browser, search for baluster, for example, and here I can find the steel, flat, upright, and this is the type. Now for this baluster, I can just double click on it and it's going to open up the properties for that baluster. I can change the material or the size of this baluster right here. Tip number 6 is to understand the paste options in Revit. So if I select any element in Revit like this railing, I can go and copy that, and then for paste, I can open up the drop menu, and here we have multiple options. One of the options is to align to selected levels. Here you can pick, for example, to place it on level 1 and level 3, click OK, and then it's basically going to copy it and paste it on those two levels. Another option that we have here is the option to align to same place, which is just going to paste it, and now we have basically two railings on top of each other. If I move one of them, as you can see, there's two of them, so I can just delete that one. Another option that we have is we can actually go to a view. So for example, if I open up the level 1 floor plan, zoom in here, go to paste, and now here I have the option to align to current view, and it's just going to place it there in this current view. Another option that we have is we can go paste and then align to picked level, and now we just need to pick a level and it's going to place that railing there. Tip number 7 is creating custom parameters in Revit. If you select an element in Revit like a wall and go into Edit Type, it's going to have a bunch of parameters. But let's say none of these parameters work for the information you want to include. Well, in that case, you can create your own. You simply go here to the Manage tab, and then you go to Project Parameters. You click on that, and then you create a new parameter. Let's name it our custom parameter. For the discipline, I'm going to set it to common. For the type, let's go with text. We're going to make this a type parameter, and then let's make it a wall parameter by checking the walls category here. You click OK, OK again, and now when you select that wall, go into Edit Type. Here you will find your custom parameter that you have created. Tip number 8 is to use Reveal Constraints. Whenever you're working in Revit, you might move an element and it might do something weird. The reason for that might be constraints. So if I undo this change, I can go down here in the view and find Reveal Constraints. That's going to open up the view where it shows exactly all of the constraints that we have. And here, for example, we have this EQ measurement that's basically making sure that the table here is exactly in the middle between these two sofas. We can also see that this wall has been used to attach this kitchen cabinetry to that, and also this wall has been used to attach kitchen cabinetry to that. So this is an easy way to see all of the constraints that we have in this model. Tip number 9 is using the tab key. Tab key in Revit is really powerful. For example, if I hover over one of these walls and then hit the tab key, it's going to highlight the entire chain of walls. So I can select 4 walls at once. Another option is when we have elements that are really close together, you can use the tab key to toggle through different elements and highlight the one you want to select. Another option is when we have overlapping elements or elements that have different properties. For example, the stair, if I highlight over this stair, it says assembled stair. If I select it, here we have the properties for that, like the base level, top level, and so on. However, if I hover over it again, hit the tab key once, it's going to highlight the run. So here it says non-monolithic run. If I click on that, it's going to show me quite different parameters for that run. So some things may be hidden behind that tab key in Revit. Tip number 10 is understanding the graphics logic in Revit. So if you want to make a change to the graphics in Revit, and if you want that change to affect all of the views, then you want to go here to the Manage tab, find Object Styles, and here any change you make, it will apply to all views that you have in your project. Now, if you want to make a change that's only going to affect this particular view, for that you want to go here to the Properties, find the Visibility Graphics Overrides, and then you make those changes there. And finally, if you want to make a change only to a single element, you need to select it, right-click, go to Override Graphics in View by Element, and then you can just override the graphics of that single element in Revit. And that's going to conclude these 10 tips for making working in Revit a lot easier. Please tell me in the comment section below what are some of the tips that you have learned about that made working in Revit a lot easier and that you were no longer getting stuck. Now, if you would like to get access to all of my Revit project files, you can find that on my Patreon page. Link will be up in the cards above and also down in the description of this video. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to check out my website, balkanarchitect.com, for more Revit courses. There I have over 120 hours of content, and I'm adding more each week. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and also I've added a video over there that might interest you as well.